Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Slice Bread Podcast, where we give you your daily slice of life. I am your host, Gary, and on today's episode, we have on the panel your boy Lenny.
Your local boy.
Nice. We got the man with the cuts, Chris.
I'm Chris, and I absolutely love Rice Krispies.
He absolutely does. And then the man that keeps us sounding slick like butter on toast, the sound guy. And last and certainly not least, Bob.
Not the builder. We don't build things up, we break them down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's break bread and get in today's episode. So we're gonna give it to Bobby things.
Okay, guys, we talking spending habits. So the most important thing about spending habits is what do you spend it on? So what do we spend most of our money on a daily basis, and how does this affect our overall budget as young working people? Talk to me, Lenny. Let me know.
What do I spend my money on?
Yes, to an extent. Where does the majority of your budget go to?
I would say cars.
Hey!
Cars. I don't
Okay,
have
okay.
Cars.
Thought as much.
Car, petrol, groceries, rent. And then there's some additional items like books. Spend way too much money on books.
Okay.
Starting
okay,
a nice
interesting.
library of my own. But those are the main causes. Fortunate for me, I don't spend my hard-earned money on strippers and cocaine. But some of us do.
No, but the thing about that is, how would you categorize your income?
You mean what is meant for all those aspects like
Yes.
cars? Yeah, I would say probably,
Give me a split. Give me percentage splits. I want to know this, Lenny. Talk to me.
let me say, I would love to say that 50% goes on it. 50% of it goes to basic needs,
Is it? Okay.
which probably doesn't.
You said he'd like to say.
I'd like to say that.
I love the honesty. I appreciate it.
But yeah, I probably spend more money on things that I'd like to have, and less money on things that I need. Look, obviously I spend a great amount on those things that I have to pay off before the tax man or like people will come running after me. But I probably spend way too much money on things that I would like to have and do not need.
Okay, that's interesting. Talk to me, Chris. What is yours?
First of all, to all auditors out there, my record is clean, so please don't come. Yeah, no, I would say just, as Lenny said, just the basic things, petrol, food, more petrol, more petrol, and just
got a traveler.
daily essentials as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, for, your toiletries, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Do you buy that in
clothes,
bulk or do you buy that only when needed?
only when needed.
Okay.
Yes.
To add, I buy in bulk.
Yes, but to further what you were asking there, Bobby, is that I would say that I feel like a lot of my money has to go to
Obligations.
Obligations. Yes, thank you so much for example, your rent.
Yes.
And then what really irks me, but I know it's necessary, is that annuity pay, that debit order that comes in. Yeah, it's because I'm not gonna feel that for so many years,
I'll
Bob.
tell you why you
I'm
should.
not gonna feel that.
I'll
And-
make you feel better about it. Don't worry.
and then as well, there's medical aid as well. That's another thing. So interesting, Bob. I don't have a medical aid, but what I've done is I've had to start myself a personal medical aid fund, where I literally send a portion of money aside in case something would
Yeah.
happen here.
The thing about that, Chris, is I really do advise you to get on a medical aid. Not because I've always had the theory that you could absolutely make more money if you did it exactly how you're doing it. But when you're in that position where you need medical aid,
Yeah.
you need it, my friend, because the hospitals and the way they operate won't take your private money. If
That-
you don't have medical aid, they'll send you to public hospital, and I'm telling you now, you do not want to be in that position where you would pay out of your pocket for public hospital service. Gary, talk to me. What is your spending habits? Where do you spend the majority of your money?
Strippers and coke.
Wow. How do you build a nation, ladies and gentlemen?
Nah, I'm
The
joking.
honesty.
Jokes.
No, I'm just joking, guys. No, most of my money goes into petrol, comes into rent, comes electricity, life policies, and also jump contracts as well.
Okay, interesting. Because life policy is quite an interesting topic because that only occurs when you die.
Yeah, when you die, or if you are a liability yourself. Because if you have things to pay off and you pass on, you passing that debt to somebody else.
Your
and so-
next of kin, huh?
Exactly, your next of kin. So it's important that you have a life policy in case something bad happens. And also, now with COVID, if you are off for more than 7 days, it's good to have a life policy that you can have a bit of an income protector. So say example,
Income protection.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
so say example that you off for more than 7 days, you can kick into your life policy and tell them, look here, I want a payout for those 7 days and more that I was off. So it's a good thing to have a life policy. But the crap thing is like Bob mentioned, you only really get to see that when you die. And, which
Oh,
means-
you can see it when you die. I like that.
you get what I'm saying? You only see when you die.
I had like a small glance by accident on one of my parents' life policies, and now I'm having thoughts about someone slipping down the stairs.
We do not condone parent violence on this channel. But this is all hypotheticals. But I like that none of you's mentioned investing or savings.
You count as an expense though.
Does it come out of your bank account?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so it's considered an expense.
Oh, okay. I can add that into my one.
See, because firstly, here's how I'll utilize my money specifically. Is when the income comes in, I categorize 3 different types of expenditures, which will be my basic necessities, which is I divide it up to be 50%, 30% on unforeseen and wants. So these are the things that you can pay for, but you don't really have to, but you do it anyway. And I use 20% of that income for savings and investments. You need to know what you can and cannot do with your money. That's why you set up a budget. Once that budget is there, then you can alter to how it affects you on a monthly basis and possibly a daily basis. So it's important that you know where your money is going. So I just want to know from you guys, what do you waste your money on the most? What do you think like you can cut back on this actually?
I can be honest. I waste my money on a 2K character.
Oh, so games.
Games.
NBA 2K.
Because I suck so bad, I didn't want to do the work. So I thought, you know what? Let me just buy like some energy, some VCs for this guy. And I spend a nice 400 rand on that, and I still suck.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's beautiful.
I still suck.
Appreciate the honesty, man.
Congratulations, you just played yourself.
Chris, what do you got? What do you waste your money on the most?
I would say that one thing that has come to mind is subscriptions.
Okay,
Yes,
interesting.
because when you start earning, you freely actually subscribe to things much more easier.
Yeah.
than if-
100%.
And
I
you don't,
like this.
And you don't even keep up with the amount of subscriptions that you have. Like it starts with your Netflix, it goes to your Showmaxes and all these things, and Gary was talking about his gaming. Then you even get Game Pass and all these stuff.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
PS, you just go
The PlayStation
crazy.
Plus, yes,
yeah, you
yes,
go
yes.
crazy with the subscriptions. And then also what I say catches me out is spontaneous buying. Yeah. When you didn't plan to buy something, you go to the shop, it catches your eye, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Look,
Yeah.
I always tell people it's that daily purchases that really catch up you in that little 20, that little 50 year on this day, and then the next
on its
day.
own, it's not a lot.
On its own,
Yeah.
okay, no, I got the money, let me do it. But it catches you at the end of the month.
True.
But Lenny, talk to me. What's the one you waste the most on?
It's got to be subscriptions as well, which I've now devised a plan like to kind of make a way between having Netflix and DSTV by not owning both, but partnering up with a friend who owns Netflix. And then I benefit from that, and he benefits from me having DSTV, having the extra views and whatnot, so I don't have to pay for both. But it's definitely those spontaneous buys. I won't tell you how many times that little flash sale by Takealot the Superbulous has caught me.
yeah.
Because it's not a lot. It's not a lot. But now you're buying 4, 5, 6 items that are on special, and now it's coming up to a big amount altogether. But you're thinking, I'm still saving. But it's still a lot of money that's coming out. And now, if that's catching you like every few weeks or whatnot, it all accumulates to a massive amount.
Did you ever have that where you were sitting on your computer and working or doing something, and just out of nowhere you think of something or an item, next moment you find yourself on Takealot and you've purchased something?
Yeah.
The thing about that, Chris, is that's what I call passion buys. Passion buys are the sense that there's something you're interested in, and so once that interest kicks in and you
Yeah.
have money for it, you will go out of your way to see and analyze and compare where is the best thing to get it from.
And it all started with a thought that came into
just
your head.
came with a
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
So the accessibility to that is now
Yes.
so much easier with the internet.
Yes.
So that's where to be the most purchase power goes to of your budget.
Yeah.
Your passion buys. So my one specifically would be something very dumb that I don't think none of you will get.
What's that?
Colognes.
Oh, okay.
I would buy different sort of colognes because I got the money for it as a passion buy. And that's where the money would go. But here's the thing. I put it in the budget.
Oh.
I planned for it. So when I told you the breakdown of the 50, the 30, and the 20.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the once, which is the 30%, if I don't buy it this month, that's good. Then that money rolls over to me for the next month and the next month. So I can make this purchase about every 3 months.
So you've kind of know a flaw of yours and you plan for it.
Absolutely.
That's Super
I
Saiyan level
put-
4, eh?
I
Duh.
put
That's level 4.
the sort of purchases
Safety net.
in my budget so that I'm not out of it. So
Okay.
I can tell myself no.
On that, Bobby, it then takes a lot of discipline to stick to that and not to. Okay, you've reached your say you've allocated 500 for fast foods or
Mm-hmm.
for the month, right? But now you spent that 500 because you wanted to treat yourself
Yes.
to an experience. Now it takes discipline for you not to then allocate more money just because you want to have more takeouts or whatever.
The thing about that, Lenny, is you need to develop a spending habit. Once you've developed one, then you can adjust it for how you need it to be. So, in other words, if you are just restricting yourself for the sake of restricting yourself, when you are going to purchase, you're going to go overboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you've never knew where the cap limit is. So when you sit at the end of the month with so little in your bank account, you're gonna start analyzing like, yo, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. Dum 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 dum
That
dum.
classic question: where did my money go? What did I actually buy?
That debit orders hit differently, Mr. Subscription.
you nuts.
See, but the thing is about budgeting, guys, is that there's 3 golden rules. Is that you don't spend more than what you make,
Yeah.
and I believe that is the most important
Yeah.
rule of all the rules. The second one is allowed to plan for the future, which is what I mentioned before. Of you know your shortfalls, so plan for it. Don't hurt yourself or how can I say restrict yourself on something. Just plan for it. Put it in advance. And the third one, which is the one we're gonna go into now, is help your money grow.
Yeah.
Because most people, like we even mentioned, I asked, what do you expense? You don't even consider your investments an expense. You don't even consider the savings an expense because it's money that you think you still have access to.
Yeah.
By doing something that helps your money improve its value is more important than just keeping it. You need to keep it. You need to keep a small portion of it, absolutely, so that you don't go overseas and then beg people back home for money because you are ill-disciplined with your money. It's pathetic. No one wants to be pathetic.
Not a G.
In that, to answer your question, yes, thoughts for investing, absolutely, especially with inflation, with things getting more expensive by the day, it will be good for you to have a platform where you're putting in money and it's actually working for you and ultimately making life a little bit easier for you. Because, I mean, we've all got incomes, but it would be great to have an extra income without
Yes.
doing much.
Think like a student when you spend your money. Think like you're broke.
Hey, nice.
Think like you're broke. Because even though the money's pulling through and you got a lot of money compared to when you were a student, still think like a student because you don't want to spend your money on unreasonable things. Because if I go back in time and I look at myself and I look, yo, I wasn't having a good time. If I look at myself now, I'm like, that festival wasn't worth it.
The thing about that, Gary, is I want to also advocate what the student thing is that you also lived very unhealthy as a student. So maybe, instead of that 2-minute noodles, you kick up to pasta. You got some money
Kick
now.
out. You don't
You
need
know,
to know.
you don't want to damage yourself in the third person. So now here's the question. Do you guys have any idea as to what to invest into?
No.
And that's the majority of the answer with
Yeah.
most people. Yes.
If you don't know anything about investments, get yourself a financial advisor. But the thing is, get a financial advisor that's more investing to you than himself.
Absolutely, because it's commission rate, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly, because the
Right.
thing is, you don't want to get a financial advisor that advises you to take products that you don't absolutely need. Because you don't want to be sitting with a life policy where you have nothing to pay off, no debt, nothing like that. You understand?
I also believe the bankers are also decent people to talk to about where to invest because they will advise you into different risk categories. You want a low risk, a medium risk, or high risk for your sort of investments.
Exactly.
And it's also important to know your long term, medium, and short term.
Yes.
Because it all ties into your goals, you as an individual. What is it you want to achieve? So here's the question: if you are budgeting for long term,
Yes, sir.
what sort of risk are you looking for? Lower risk, medium risk? Because then I can tell people if you're looking long term, I would highly look into unit trusts. I would look into stocks and bonds, but that's through your financial advisor
Or your brokers as well.
or your brokers. Yes,
Your brokers as
So
well.
would that be low risk or
it depends in the fund. That's the beauty of it. When
Yeah.
you choose those things and then you can discuss with them.
Yeah.
I want to take these funds and place it in high risk. So this means it's volatile to
Yes,
an
sir.
extent,
Yes,
but
sir.
your returns can
High
be
returns.
spectacular, but it can also mean you lose a lot.
Yep.
But if it's medium risk, it's medium, and if it's low risk, then it's more like they'll look into government bonds, so something that's connected to the foreign currency, so that you know it doesn't crash. You'll still have your money for it.
So what you actually must do, if you go like for any asset management company, look at the fact sheets that they have, and you check the benchmark, and you see the return they have. Most funds will always try to beat the benchmark, so you always go for the ones that beat the benchmark on the long run, and those are the ones you can invest for a retirement annuity or, like Bob says, a long term risk. You understand? Not long term risk, a long term plan. Sorry.
The thing about long-term investing, guys, is that you won't see the return now. In fact, it will look like you are losing. But once it hits past the 5-year mark, that's when you will start seeing, wow, what a great investment. But that means when you do invest in this, you mustn't expect every single month to see spectacular winnings. I won the lotto, give me my money. Don't do it. You're not supposed to touch it.
Yeah.
That's the whole beauty of it. So if you look in low risk long term, then there's what fixed deposits, things like that, and of a long term nature
Yes, sir.
that can work out for you. But if we talk in medium term, this is where I want to get into you guys, because a lot of people don't have medium term money, which is, let's say I want to buy a car. Let's say I want to go on a trip to the Bahamas, do that thing. Where do you place your money forward? I would say rather like a 32-day account or something that you still have access to, but it's medium term. It's not accessible like tomorrow or the day after that or 7 days. If you will look in short term, that's where that market hits of I have access to it quickly, which I would say a tax-free investment account. I would say your normal savings account attached to your current account, because these are with the banks. But that is savings. But once we talk medium and long term, that's investing, because your payout kicks in at the end.
I would say this: if you want to look for something short term, you should maybe think of getting like a money market account, something with lower risk. It's like you invest in the banks, your return isn't that high. So when you have like a short term investment account, those are for those emergencies, man. Because you say example that you're driving your car and then you need to repair on your vehicle. You need those things and stuff like that.
I just want to know what's in it for these institutions if I invest in these 32-day and these unit trust accounts. Like, let's say I'm a cynic and I'm asking myself, why do they want to help me in this way?
Make money.
What's in it for
Easily
them?
to make money, because the money you put into the bank, they can lend out at 10, 15 times the rate that they're giving you back the money.
So basically, obviously, that's how banks operate. Is
Yes.
that they move money around?
They absolutely move it
Yeah.
around. So let's say you give the bank 100,000, right? The bank can take that 100,000, give you a measly 5 to 6% interest rate. Take that 100,000, loan it out to someone else at a 15 to 20% interest rate, and that loan, they will have to pay back that loan.
Yes.
And they would have made their money, and they give you a small portion back of the interest to use your money to make money.
So you're telling me they're passing my money like they're passing a blood?
Absolutely. And that's just it.
And a lot quicker too.
I keep telling people you need to establish a relationship with your bank.
Okay.
So in other words, get yourself a credit record by taking out the credit card. Because then at least you can build something up. So when you do ask for money from the bank, which will eventually be buying a home or purchasing a car, there's a credit record to follow up as to how you pay off your debt.
So if they see that you play nice with money, they will play nice with you.
Absolutely, because they can't give you a high interest rate if you have a solid credit record. Because then you can just go to any other institution and they want to keep you as a customer. So if you new and you take out a new credit card, you've never had credit before, they'll easily hit you with a 22% interest.
So you
rate on it. And you got to take that L initially. And once you start showing that you can manage this, it drops down gradually to back to 17, back to 15, to 13, to 10.
But now you speaking about credit record. How do you like build up your credit record? Like what do you need to take out? Like,
Look,
per se?
I would say if you're just starting out, you should try and get a clothing account or get like a contract with your phone where you be paying it out of your account. Even if your parents give you every single month the thing into your account, you would want that so that you build up the record. See, what a lot of wealthy people do is that once their children is of a certain age, they start giving them credit in their name, but they hold all the security of it. So this, by the time they are adults, they have already established a nearly decade long line of credit records. So when they apply for loans, they get much lower rates and better deals. And it's been going on for years, but most people don't know this because everyone is built in this. I don't really understand how money works. I just accept it for what it is.
That's what wealthy people do with like these rich teenage kids. They get credit cards like at a young age.
Very
already.
young age, and
Yeah.
the parents basically co-sign it.
Yeah.
So when they need to buy the Mercedes, it's easy.
So at the same time, they are in a sense also empowering their
Absolutely.
kids. Yeah.
They teach in money from a young age.
Damn trust fund kids.
Well,
Damn trust fund babies.
That, for this question, Bob, because it's quite a complex topic, money, investing, and everything, do you think it would be worthy for people to get these trainings as early as possible, like even from school?
I would suggest that they do it in school because they are subcategorizing it into different things: economics, business studies, accounting. But they really should have a money matters sort of course.
You don't learn any of these things in accounting.
You do to an extent on a higher level.
Not-
so once
not-
you get
not
to tertiary
first-
level,
Not high
yeah.
school, not high school accounting.
not at high school, not at
Yeah.
high school. But anyway, guys, we've come to the conclusion. So all I want to know from you guys, what are the advice you would give the listeners to improve their spending habits as well as yourself?
Invest into cokes and strippers. I am an advocate for this.
Do not listen to Gary. He's being Gary.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. What I'll give the listener is this. When you get that first paycheck, enjoy yourself. Because you did not go to university to just now subdue yourself to a cheaper lifestyle. Enjoy yourself. Find out what your good habits, find out what your bad habits. And once you found that, that midpoint, you know exactly how to use your money. But also, you must also think about the long term, save for the future, like Bob said. That's the main thing.
Lenny, talk to me.
You guys convinced me. So I will say save and invest and stay away from those pop-up sales because they will eat you.
Chris, cut me out here.
I would also say save as much as you can and try and stay away from junk food and restaurants because you're hungry, anything will fill up your stomach.
Like our mothers used to say, there's food at home.
And on that note, guys, we will leave you with the best advice. Support the Sliced Bread podcast.
So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to today's episode. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share our podcast, whatever platform you're listening from, to show your support. And lastly, join us next time for another Slice of Life.